Hey everyone, I'm Mind, and in this video I'm going to be reviewing the LEGO Ninjago Micro Ninjago City Docks set that you can see down here. Throughout the video, I'm also going to be comparing each part of this set to the full-size Ninjago City Docks set that you can see I have right here. This is set number 40704, it contains 275 pieces, and it's a LEGO Insiders reward. To get it, you have to spend 2,300 LEGO Insiders points, which is about how many points you would get for spending $350 at the LEGO store or on LEGO.com. But I'll talk about that price a little bit more at the end of this video. For now, let's take a look at everything the set has to offer and compare it to the full-size set. So the full-size Ninjago City Docks, in my opinion, is the least interesting Ninjago City set, and as such, I feel like that's the case with the micro sets too. I will say this is a very good representation of the set in micro form, but if you're not going to get all the sets, this is probably the one I'd recommend the least. Here's a look at it from the back too, because like this is what's advertised on the front of the box, again, both on the original set and the micro version. That's always been so weird to me, because I think the front's more interesting, and you can like better see how it connects with the other cities. But I do like that they made this packaging reflect the original. Starting on the left here on the ground floor, we have the little stonecutter shop. I really like the use of the ingot pieces as like the pillars here, because it fits with the theme of what the store is supposed to be, right? Like this is chiseled stone at the front. Visually, I don't think it's like the absolute best representation of the pillars from the original set, but it's visually close enough. It brings some more texture over here, and does help to indicate like the purpose of this building despite being in a micro scale. Then we have this little building at the center with like the apartment on top. A few cool details here. You can see there's this yellow piece like in this alleyway. That's meant to be the sign in the alleyway from the original set. There's some really cool texture in this red wall here too, and I think this grill piece is a great representation of that in this tiny form. They also use these sloped grill pieces as like a part of the roof, and I don't think that's the best one-to-one translation, because in the original set that slope's a lot steeper. I feel like just a regular cheese slope would have looked better, but I think it's close enough and the building's still recognizable. The upper part of the roof though looks great. I like how they use these cheese slopes to create like the points on the end. And then here I think it's very creative to use the Wolverine claw piece to be like a fern covering up that part of the alleyway, which of course in the original set that was this giant plant piece, and you can move that out of the way to get access inside. And I always found that to be one of the weirder, like more striking aspects of this build, so I'm glad it's so prominently featured in the micro version. And that piece is such a smart choice to use. Finally, for like the front ground level, I think the cheese slope is a good way to represent like the stairs that go up at the end. And the ice cream cone piece does a decent job to capture like the shape of this pillar. Again, it's not 100% perfect, but for micro scale, I think they did a pretty good job. Turning this around to the back, I think this entire section looks really great. There's the crane that can be angled and moved around. The wooden platform's a fantastic translation into micro scale. We have the little booth where fruits are sold in the original set, and it would have been nice to maybe see some color in there to represent the actual fruits, but I'm not sure what the best way to accomplish that would have been. And when looking at the full-size set, I think that's a pretty good translation. The original set also has this little hideaway for this boat in the corner, and you can see that's here on the micro version too, including the actual boat. They've got the triangular platform above it too, and I think the use of this part's actually quite creative. It's meant to represent this black railing in the original set. And then we have like these ladders that come up to this upper level in the Stocky's tea shop, and there's this little platform made from the parts of the ladders to actually get inside. They use grill pieces as both of those sections in the micro build. That's incredibly smart. This like inverted technique to the roof too, I think is also very creative. And here there's one of the signs from the original set too. And here's the roof on the original build, which you can see is also somewhat inverted, like the points do come upwards. And there is a hanging sign, however, this is not the exact same color, this is trans bright green, while the one in the micro scale set is just regular trans green on top of regular green. So that color's not one-to-one, and that's a little disappointing to see, but I assume that's for budgeting reasons. I don't think these parts exist in the color they would have needed to be in, so this is like a good enough representation, it's close, but still would have been cool to see that recolor there. The antenna on the roof are still here too, including the little white sign. And there's a quick look at those in the original build. And then around the front of Mistake's tea shop, there's like the seafoam blue sign, and a little cheese slope right here too. The seafoam blue is accurate to the original set, so that's very nice. And the cheese slope actually does a really good job to represent this newspaper stand. Back to the micro version, we have the stairwell on the side that leads up to the arcade at the top. But this building in the center is Dareth's dojo, and it's nice that they included like the little open door right here. Once again, that is representative of the original set. And then we come back around front, we have two more signs, an orange sign and a bright orange sign, as well as the actual arcade. My favorite detail of this, I love that the little soda machine is actually depicted here. That's one of my favorite details in the dock set, because it's a Power Miners reference to a set I had as a kid and I loved as a kid. So it's cool that even the micro version references it too. That like clear cheese slope does a good job to represent like the angled door. And there's a dark tan sign on the side of the building too. Comparing all that to the full-size set, again, I think it does a pretty good job. We have the bright orange right here, and we do have normal orange here. I will say, a very small nitpicky thing, I would have preferred if they went with a lime green instead of the orange for the sign on the micro version, because bright orange next to orange just doesn't look as interesting as bright orange next to lime green, and obviously this sign could have been represented by either color, but the choice they went with was perfectly fine. And there's like the nougat sign on the side of the building too. I think I called that tan, that's not tan, that's nougat. There's the roof next, and this is mostly very simple. A detail I like is this open stud right here. On the original set, the roof ends off with with a rounded tile with a hole in it, so I think an open stud's a great representation of that. And then of course there's the pig balloon at the very top of the building, which is depicted very simply here, but I think the colors are good and you can still move it around just like on the original set. But it is hard to capture something this good in micro scale. And then finally for the micro scale docks, there is one little secret hidden inside. There might be more than that, but that's the only one I noticed when building. If you take off the roof of the arcade, there's actually a little soda can inside there. It's gold with a printed top, and that's the same as the soda cans in the original machine in the original set. I think that's a really cute reference that the soda's actually in the machine behind the machine in the micro scale set. And I think that's most of what I have to show you for the micro scale Ninjago City Docks in this video. Of course, it does have Technic pins on one side and Technic holes on the other, and that's so it can connect to the other Micro Ninjago City sets. So here it is connected to the original Micro Ninjago City. These two obviously look very nice together. And here they are connected the other direction as well. These two, of course, both also connect to the Micro Ninjago City Gardens and the Micro Ninjago City Markets. However, I will not be covering those in this video. I'll have separate reviews of those sets in the coming weeks, and in those videos I'll connect all the different sets together. But now, before I end this video off, I want to quickly talk about the price. So this is 2,300 VIP points, and it's hard to qualify like VIP rewards like as a set. But I think the idea of having to spend like almost $2,000 to get all the different Micro Ninjago cities is very, very silly. Of course, there is always things like double VIP point days, and if you really wanted to, you could part out this set. Like, it doesn't seem to be too expensive on the aftermarket. Sealed, I think it's 36 bucks. So there are ways to get this, but I still think LEGO's charging too much. No, it does seem like they decreased the prices on the gardens and the markets, because this one is a little cheaper than Micro Ninjago City, but I assume that was just because it's a smaller set. But the gardens and the markets are even bigger than the original city, but they keep the price of this one. With that in mind, though, this is easily the worst value of the three just because it is the smallest one, and as I said, the docks in general is the least interesting Ninjago City. I will say this does a great job to represent it in micro form. Like, there's not much I'd change about it. I had a few minor criticisms, but like, it's micro scale, you're not going to get it 100% perfect. I think this part of the building could maybe look a little bit better in terms of the shape. I would have liked if the sign was a different color, but that's just personal preference. And that's something that I mentioned in my review of the Micro Ninjago City as well. I wish they found some way to incorporate the lanterns from the original set into this build. And I don't know how they would have done it, because obviously they're very small parts on the original build, and you do have to get rid of a lot of detail. But I feel like the lanterns are just one of the most iconic parts of Ninjago City in general, so the fact that they're not present in any of the Micro Ninjago City sets in any way does make it feel like something's missing a little bit. But of course, all of that is just my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think of this set in the comments below. If you missed it, go check out my review of the original Micro Ninjago City. I should have a playlist in the pinned comment, and then maybe a card in the video if I remember to do it. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like on it, and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye.